everyone, Commander Simlex here, and today we will be looking at how to spec your tactical ship in Star Trek Online for maximum weapon damage, and a little bit extra survivability, but mainly weapon damage increase. Mainly for a weapon damage increase, sorry. And let's get right to it. Now for the consoles, I would recommend that you stick shield enhancing consoles in all your science slots, as this will enhance your survivability quite a bit as a tactical ship when you are in the fray doing strafing runs. I would recommend at least one field generator console, which increases maximum shield capacity, and the rest of them can be shield emitter amplifiers, which improve your shield regeneration rate. Now, it is up to the player to decide how many numbers of each they want, but I would recommend at least one field generator. Now, for engineering consoles, you can add a console called a plasma distribution manifold to... Okay, that's not what I was looking for. Awesome. Just a moment here. Okay, here. Yeah, of course, I look in the wrong tab. Sorry about that. Now, the plasma distribution manifold increases your weapon power setting, which will increase the damage of your weapons depending on how much power you have to your weapons. So you can always add these in to the engineering consoles if you want a really, really high damage ship. Now, of course, this ship is not a very good example because I went for a lot of extra survivability, as I want to last long in a fight, more so than deal a crud load of damage. Now, and of course, all of these consoles will be enhanced by your own personal tactical abilities, so you can always take that into account when you make the decision on which consoles to equip. Now, in my case, my character's abilities enhance the damage output quite a bit, so I went for extra survivability with a monotanium hull armor for kinetic damage, a tetraburnium hull armor for all the energy types except for disruptor and phaser, and then I also went for ablative hull armor, which covers phaser and disruptor as well as plasma and tetrion yet again, so I have really high plasma and tetrion damage resistance, which, at least the plasma one, will help with the Borg and the Romulans when I'm fighting them, so that's always useful. Now, as far as high damage output, I would also recommend that all cannons, beams, and beam banks be one energy type, as this will help maximize the damage output through increasing the damage through consoles. And I would also recommend that the torpedoes be one energy type, as I have here on this ship. And as far as consoles go, I would recommend, if you have 4 console slots for tactical, two consoles that affect your torpedoes and 2 consoles that affect your beams and cannons, as this will help spread out the amplifiers of damage, or the amplified stats among the weapons equally. Now, as far as the shields and the warp core and the engine and the deflector, I would recommend a set, as the sets are really well, are the strongest in the game most of the time, and are usually really well done, and are probably the best grouping of equipment you'll find. So in this case, I have the Jem'Hadar set. You can acquire this through the Dominion featured episode series, starting with Second Wave. and and the shield stats are on screen right now. And in this case, I have the engine and the deflector as well. So the benefits I get with this one is I get Dominion Synergy, which increases my Polaron damage, which I actually do not take advantage of here in this set, but that's okay. And I also get Power Insulators increase. I get a Power Insulator increase, which increases my resistance to tachyon beams and energy siphons and other draining abilities. And then I also get Anti-Proton Sweep, which drains the enemy shields by 815.1 shields on up to 5 enemies. Now, of course, there is a rather large cooldown with this, and unfortunately, I do not get the Victory with Life because this ship is not a Jem'Hadar vessel or a Cardassian Gaylord. Now, back to the consoles briefly. You can also increase your hull repair rate through an SIF generator. This will also increase your survivability by a little bit. However, if you go for maximum damage output, you would want quite a few of the plasma distribution manifolds, and maybe a little bit of armor for survivability purposes. Now, the engine and deflector, of course, improve your abilities. The engine improves your maneuverability, and for a tactical ship, I would recommend a combat impulse engine, as that will improve your ship's overall performance at low engine power levels. So if you have all your energy put towards the weapons subsystem, then your engines will still perform at maximum. So that is always nice to have. And then, of course, the deflector just improves your abilities. If you have a cloaking device, I would recommend a stealth detection or a stealth amplifier, which can also be put into the science consoles. However, that of course will negate a few of the limited slots you have for shield enhancements. Now, in this case, it has graviton generators, which improves knockback and repel for you. So if you have tricobalt devices or other abilities such as gravity well or other things like that, it will enhance those. Now, I also have this one also has a Starship countermeasure systems, which is great for jamming sensors and confusing the enemy overall. But it also has a flow capacitors with enhancement, which I would recommend if you tend to if the abilities you have include tachyon beam or any other, or energy siphon or plasmatic leech or anything that drains power. And then in this case, it also has a stealth detection rating, which is really nice, as it helps you detect other tactical ships while they are under cloak. And also this one has inertial dampeners, which further increases your maneuverability of your ship, which is great for strafing runs as a tactical vessel. Now, as far as warp cores go, I again opted for more survivability and went with a auxiliary power to shields with further improvements, as it takes 7.5% of my auxiliary power to the shields power level, and it has even more power to the auxiliary through the 2 additional auxiliary power increasers as shown on screen with the stats. And that means that even more power will be shifted to shields, as it takes 7.5% of whatever the auxiliary power level is. Now, this also means that my abilities will be enhanced, because most abilities that are based around the deflector, such as graviton, such as the gravity well and the tachyon beam and phaser lance and such, all use auxiliary power. Now this one has a battery capacitor, which which repairs the disabled auxiliary subsystem, which means that your abilities will be able to be utilized a lot faster, and it also adds 15 to the auxiliary power setting for 10 seconds. Now that further increases your shields, as it also shifts the 7.5% to it. Now, as far as creating one with more damage, I'll just find you an example in Warp Cores here. Just give me a sec. For increasing your damage output, I would recommend a Warp Core with a auxiliary to weapons, as this one will take 7.5% of your auxiliary power and put it as weapon power. Now, this also has auxiliary power, 2 auxiliary power bonuses, so that'll further increase your weapon power to an even greater level. Now also, this one has a weapons capacitor, which is an ability that repairs your weapons so you can fire back at a faster rate after being disabled. And also it adds even more power to your weapons, plus 15 for 10 seconds. So that is actually a really awesome example of a good warp core for increasing your damage. In fact, I think I will buy it right now. So that is all the time I have for this video, and please remember to like and subscribe and comment below, and I will see you in the next video. Commander Simlex out.